Imagine this. In the middle of the Caribbean Sea, a massive U.S. aircraft carrier moves steadily through calm waters. Clouds drift quietly above. The deck crew works in routine silence. Everything seems normal. Until, suddenly, inside the carrier's Combat Information Center, an alarm flashes red. A radar operator freezes. His voice shakes. Unknown aircraft approaching fast. Yes, on that day, something unexpected appeared on the radar. A Venezuelan Air Force F-16 heading straight toward a U.S. Navy carrier strike group. What happened next almost triggered a real military confrontation. Let's break down the entire shocking incident. The U.S. Carrier Strike Group. Late 2023, a U.S. Navy strike group was patrolling international waters near the Caribbean. Leading the group was the giant aircraft carrier USS George Washington. Surrounding it were two destroyers, one guided missile cruiser, several F-16 Super Hornets already airborne. Everything was completely routine. Then it happened. A fast-moving contact appeared on radar, coming in at high speed. At first, it was just a small blip. But within seconds, the radar operators zoomed in and noticed something strange. The object gets closer. Distance drops, 55 miles, to 40, to 30, to 20. The speed? Around 1,200 kilometers per hour. That meant one thing. It was definitely a fighter jet. But not just any fighter jet. The radar tech suddenly shouted, "Sir, it's an F-16 Venezuelan Air Force." Instant tension filled the command room. The U.S. Navy had no communication from Venezuela. No warning, no flight plan, nothing. This was completely unexpected. Is this an attack? Relations between the U.S. and Venezuela have been tense for years. So a Venezuelan F-16 heading directly at an American carrier set off immediate alarms. The carrier commander made a rapid decision. Launched two F-16 Super Hornets to intercept. Within moments, the jets soared into the sky, heading toward the unknown contact. As they approached, they visually confirmed. Yes, it was definitely a Venezuelan S-16, flying fast and low. The U.S. pilot radioed. "Unidentified F-16, you are entering restricted airspace. Identify yourself immediately." No response. He repeated. Still nothing. But then something even more alarming happened. The F-16 suddenly dives. Instead of turning away, the Venezuelan F-16 pushed its nose down, a steep dive straight toward the carrier. On the radar screen, its altitude dropped rapidly. 15,000 feet, to 10,000 feet, to 5,000 feet, to 2,000 feet. The Combat Information Center exploded with urgency. Someone shouted, "Is he going for a kamikaze dive?" Because yes, that is exactly what it looked like. This forced the carrier to activate defensive procedures. Destroyers armed their missile systems. The carrier readied its CIWS, rapid-fire guns. F-16s positioned to block the F-16. The entire strike group was seconds away from a possible engagement. Tornado, then the unbelievable happened. At the very last moment, when the F-16 was only 1.8 miles from the USS George Washington, it suddenly pulled up, banking sharply to the right. Every alarm froze. Everyone held their breath. The US jets immediately moved to intercept, flying right beside the Venezuelan pilot. Then, finally, after minutes of silence, a voice cracked through the radio. "This is Venezuelan Air Force. We lost navigation systems." The US pilots were stunned. Navigation failure? Then why did the pilot ignore warnings? Why dive straight at the carrier? Nothing added up. To the US commander, this was clearly not a simple technical glitch. What analysts believe really happened? Military experts later suggested three possible explanations. 1. Intentional provocation. Venezuela may have wanted to test how quickly the US Navy reacts. 2. Electronic warfare. The F-16's navigation and communication may have been jammed, possibly by another hidden actor. No one knows for sure. Or 3. A political message. A show of force. We can come this close to your carrier if we want to. Whether this was a warning, a test, or a mistake, the timing was highly suspicious. The U.S. response. Hours after the incident, the U.S. Navy issued a firm statement. Any aircraft approaching without identification will be considered a potential threat, meaning next time they won't hesitate. The USS George Washington immediately adjusted its patrol course. Extra fighter jets were deployed overhead for added protection. This was no longer a routine mission. A later analysis on the Venezuelan jet revealed some navigation errors did occur, but the communication system was manually switched off, and the flight path looked deliberately suspicious. In other words, this was not random. This was a psychological and tactical move intended to provoke or pressure the US Navy. The truth is still officially classified, but experts agree it was a dangerous game. Today, radar footage and recreations of the incident have gone viral online. People still discuss how close the world came to a military clash that day. Just a few more seconds of that dive, just a slightly faster approach, or one wrong decision by either pilot, and the skies over the Caribbean could have erupted in fire. But at the final second, the F-16 turned away, the US jets held their fire, and a major international crisis was avoided. That's why this moment is now known as the dive that almost started a war.